Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So new Marik's aboard. I don't think anyone expected this one, right? On first sight I was like, ooh, these seem pretty strong. But eventually reading them a second time and I was like, there are some restrictions that I overlooked at first. And eventually, by playtesting I was like, okay, no, the restrictions definitely make sense. But it's in theory it sounds really strong, like the new lava golem, the fusion, the new Ra fusion as well, that pushes for an OTK. So at first I was like, okay, maybe this might be a going second tech, but very similar to Tenpai, but far from, I feel. Sure, you can definitely go second and focus on an OTK with your big fusion, like OG Ra, giving the attack stat, etc. or increased attack points, but in theory that sounds much better than it actually is, because it's not nearly as consistent as a Tenpai OTK. So let's see, the deck can definitely go first, go second as well, but going first I feel the Millennium engine, it just gives the deck a far bigger potential advantage, because you will pay life points, and that's important for the Hellpomer here in the hand. This is the OG True Sun God, the continuous spell. I'm not a huge fan of this because, again, if you're going for an OTK, that continuous spell limits that, Anyway, so the Millennium engine is there, not necessarily for link bodies, obviously it is, right, because of the rabbit, the Silhouette Rabbit, one of the best extra deck cards here in the deck. Also for the Zombie Vampire, extending and forcing out hand traps, but mainly also because of the life point cost. And as you saw, I think I already summoned the Hellpomer to the field. That's basically your Stratos. It searches from the deck, and at the same time, when the difference of life points is at least 2k, your opponent has to discard one card. And it works during both players' turns. So essentially, if the life points, are 2k or higher, you can discard 2 cards from your opponent. So this is another gimmick of the deck. Again, if you activate it, if you send that quick play fusion spell from your deck to the graveyard, if it ended up in the graveyard in that turn, by sending it, foolishing it, activating it, you can add all the true, sun monsters from your graveyard back to the hand. So they are free pluses basically, and that's kinda nifty. Again, that gives this deck tier 1 potential. The Bicer Shock, I'm calling it Bicer Shock. What is it? Whenever a monster is sent to the graveyard by, for your opponent, you can summon it and then bounce something back. It's a compulse. The Hellpomer again searches during their turn as well. And of course gives you a discard. And you can discard during their turn thanks to the traps, right? The Slime Trap, the new one, gives you the search. And because you search during their turn, you can special summon the monster. And yada yada, it gives you a discard. Okay, going second. As you saw, you can play go second, like Perulias as well. I'm not a huge fan of Perulia because, again, this OTK strategy is far from consistent, as in very similar to Tenpai. Tenpai is far more consistent than this. But there is potential, because it's kind of hard to stop. But there are some restrictions. You will see in a few moments. So they got free information about our hand, but I mean, we have many starters. Again, we have many ways that leads to an OTK, and with that I mean to the new Ra fusion that potentially can lead to the OTK, right? Let's see. We have to plow through the field, because now we are setting a monster, very similar to Gladiator Beasts back in the day. You can set your, Sun God monster and then contact fusion by going for the new Lava Golem and use 2 monsters on their field. And that's, I feel, the biggest restriction is that as soon as you go for the Lava Golem, you can only special summon once from the rest of the entire turn. So you can't go for your Ra OTK. That's silly, no? But I get the restriction. You have to navigate through their negations, being able to go for the new Ra fusion, and then go for your Lava Golem, essentially locking you for one special summon for the rest of the entire turn. Like what happens here. Ra first, it's unaffected, right? It can't be super polyed, it's unaffected by Imperm, whatever. And then use one of our quote-unquote useless sun monsters on the field and then go for the Lava Golem to put that in attack position. Anyway, so let's see, again, the advantage. Like, if you don't have the Millennium engine, first of all, you're losing bodies. Minor, restriction, it does conflict with Dominus Spark, so keep that in mind. I don't feel Impulse is that great in the deck, but again, feel free to add it in or prove me, give me reasons for it to main deck, other than it's a superb hand trap, but I mean it blocks your light. And your new Ra, its effect, its quote-unquote Raigeki effect is far too strong. Okay, so we dropped our life points to 4k, so that's 2 extra discards, again far too good. Without the Millennium engine, your end board is pretty decent, not that threatening, I guess, like the Fancy Ball, the Charmer Link 4, that's basically it almost, right? Especially after getting hand trapped once or twice. Anyway, Rabbit is a super staple for this deck. It searches the trap, you know, the Noose line, which is important, especially if you are getting hand trapped, you want backup with the Silhouette Rabbit. So the Charmer, it's not that needed, but I mean, it's a solid end board piece. So the fusion spell was sent. I think we're leaving the Makura in the graveyard, yeah, because of the Charmer link. Sadly, we have to wait until main phase 1, so now during the main phase we Reborn 2, both of them can only use for Link Summon, keep that in mind, but you know, the Makura is triggered, is, you know, activated, and we can use the set spell, but obviously we set the continuous because we don't have any solid target left, because we don't control, you know, Ra, the new Ra, for example. Here, I guess in this situation is where a potential second fusion spell could be good, the second quick play. Anyway, so you saw the quote-unquote combo as we've seen before, you know, going for Hellpalmer during their turn, basically an extra discard, you get where I'm going towards to. The last one going second again, again you can, and that's I guess another advantage that this deck has, that again this gives this deck potential tier 1 status, is that you can play a lot of hand traps, there are a lot of 1-card starters, and also an advantage is that you can reborn a Ra that's banished. So stuff like DD Crow or Bestials don't do that much, so I like that, that's nifty. Anyway, so Invoked is a problem, because Invoked is going to end on, I forgot the name, you know, the one that's basically a Macrocosmos, right? And it's a problem because, what else, like there are other monsters that need to be sent to the graveyard for Contact Fusion. Yeah, so I mentioned it, I think the Macrocosmos one is going to hit the field, and the Imperm is kind of like a sick top deck, basically my only out here in the deck. Otherwise, I'm not so sure if I would have, you know, still had the chance or still, you know, be in the game. So we negate that, and, you know, again, as I mentioned before, we have to try to navigate through their negations. We can't just recklessly go for the new Lava Golem and leave it like that. We will just get destroyed next turn. So let's see. The new continuous spell, Foolish Ra, so that's nifty, like you can search Ra relatively easy, and then go for the continuous trap. Again, this gives us a Sun name on field, but they still have the, what is it, Elysium, yeah, but again our fusion, that's good, unaffected by any effects. Towers monster that is, and then set, and then go for the Lava Golem, and again, the attack is not enough, but keep in mind, we have the continuous spell that gives us an extra burn damage basically. Ring of Destruction, unlike to go for an OTK, so it's really cheesy. So does it, like, is this a like next broken deck? No, obviously not. It still has a lot of weaknesses, choke points, like 1 or 2 well-timed hand traps could stop this deck in its tracks. But this build is far from finalized, so feel free to leave suggestions. But I feel it has potential. You know, a lot of 1-card engines, but I don't like the quote-unquote bricks you have to run in the main deck. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Leave them signing out. Peace.